Hello and welcome to Life in the Bitter Truth. This is the podcast where we seek to understand the deeper, sometimes painful aspects of life and what it all means to us. I'm Vittorio.
And I'm Alex. Stop.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So what's going on?
What a freaking stressful week it's been. Why? I don't know. I feel like every week we come to this table here and just bring... we have to check it at the door. We can't bring stress into here or work stuff or anything like that.
Listen, before we even said hello to our audience,
I'm already spiraling.
Were we ranting?
We were, and
I'm ranting about all kinds of shit.
I'm just shook right now.
So
anyway,
that's why we don't. That's why we leave it at the door after. We are true artists.
Yeah, I love that for us.
They say when you see those. Anchorman, remember when they're all fighting in the background? As soon as the camera hits, they all change.
Yes,
they all look at the camera going,
yes. Come on, the show must go on here.
That's right.
And today we're going to be talking about something that has been painful for a lot of people. Maybe for you. Just kidding. Shout out to the ex-wives that watch our podcast, okay. My mother and my sister's mother. But we're going to be talking about money today.
Oh, okay.
Money in relationships. How do we navigate money? How do we navigate those conversations? And just kind of get some perspective from my dad, who's been through this.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So I knew the topic beforehand, right? So I was talking to a friend before we started, and we were talking about. Well, she's asking me, "What do you feel about?" Are you more traditional? Are you whatever? Mm-hmm. I think it's a hit and miss, right? Because every relationship's different, every person's different, right?
Right.
So that's kind of what we're gonna bridge over. So
True. I
think you may have overheard some of it, but I was just talking about what works, what doesn't work in relationships mm-hmm. from experience. Mm-hmm. I think I've lived with a few people, so it's kind of been
a little bit.
It's kind of a hit and miss. And then, of course, there's all kinds of issues, so we can go deeper into
and that. It's funny because I asked my dad, where are your notes? Because I have my notes here. And he's like, I don't need notes. I know.
Life is my notes. Life is my notes.
I like that. Put that on a T-shirt.
Exactly. So what, first of all, what's going on this week? That's so stressful. Why? What's the
work, man. Just helping other people, help themselves, running our business. Yesterday, we were in East LA vending. And it was a pretty successful night for us.
Good.
And I read some poetry, which I haven't done in a while.
You made some money.
And everyone, you didn't even say anything about the poetry.
You had some poetry.
Yeah.
Did I see anything on the Instagram?
They haven't posted anything like that yet.
Okay.
But it was cool. I had people laughing.
Okay.
I was talking about traumatic things that people were really into it and laughing and hollering.
There's a lot of dark people like traumatic things.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of traumatic people around the art circles, but we got to make some light with it. I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
But how was your week, Dad? Tell me.
What was my week? Is it still going? Jesus, it's
been. Oh my
it's
God, I'm so tired.
It's been running 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. I just don't. It just one day blurs to the next, and mm-hmm. I just don't know what day of the week it is. I've got so much I'm trying to do in such a short amount of time. I don't know. Lots of stuff. Busy. So,
yeah. And what are you drinking today?
Today is RD1. It is a bourbon finished in maple barrels.
Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Yeah. I grabbed it because it's the only thing I could find because everything's in the garage.
Oh, right. My dad's moving things around right now.
Everything's been put away because I'm doing stuff. So yeah. So, but it's good. Very tasty.
Like that.
Very scrumptious.
Right now, I'm drinking out of my Galinda cup.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
ASMR.
Cool. So what day is today? Today is the 22nd of May. Tomorrow it's Lilo and Stitch.
I thought it was coming out on the 26th.
23rd.
Oh, shit.
That's right. And
oh, my God, I want to watch it.
I think Disney hasn't screwed this one up. I haven't heard any bad press.
You're excited, huh?
I'm excited.
This was my sister's favorite movie growing up. We saw it a freaking billion times before she was born and after, obviously, because it was our movie before she was born, and then it became her movie when she was born. But
so
I'm excited too.
That's coming out tomorrow, the 23rd of May, and that should be good. Like I said, so far Disney hasn't screwed shit up, so it's good.
Can I tell you what movie we saw on Tuesday?
Sure.
Final Destination. They created a new one.
Did they?
It's called Bloodlines. Holy shit. It was so gory. I was jumping out of my seat. I think I screamed a couple of times, but thankfully there was no one else in the theater.
Okay.
But we took Cliff, and it was
just you two.
It was Cliff and I, Jacob, Cameron, and one of his best friends.
Oh, okay.
And it was a whole thing.
Where was the madre?
She was at work,
Oh.
so she wasn't able to make it,
Someone's
which
gotta
is
work,
fine.
right?
I know someone's got to make money around
There you
here.
go.
Speaking
Good deal.
of,
Good deal. Exactly.
yeah,
Speaking of.
speaking of.
Good segue.
So in your opinion,
Right.
when is the right time to start talking about money? Obviously, when two people get together, you kind of, people are paying for dates, and you start being in a relationship is so expensive for a lot of people.
Sure.
Because normally, I mean, for me, before I was in a relationship, I was kind of a homebody. I don't mind eating at home. I don't mind like making my own food, right? But when you're with someone, you want to experience new restaurants and you want to go out and go to the movies and do things like that. And so you kind of start to see the other person's spending habits and desires when you're out and about and stuff like that.
So your question is, when should people start talking about money?
Yeah.
Day one.
Day one. How do you do that?
So tell me how you feel about. Tell me what kind of feelings you'll have about debt. How do you?
Ask them how much debt you have?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, do you spend a lot of money on? Do you have credit cards? How do you spend? Are you a big saver? I mean, there's nothing wrong with those. Are fair questions. It's not an interview process when you're just getting to know somebody, but it kind of is because you're trying to see how that person melds into your way of doing things, and I assume they're going to be doing the same thing.
Right.
Guys are probably a little less aware, or they care a little bit less. I see that a lot with women. They do that because I think women have that that nesting mindset, and so maybe that's kind of what is coming up. What is that noise?
Oh, it's hard. It's the
Is it
fire
an ambulance out
engines.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was hearing some kind of.
I know.
Okay.
Hopefully someone's okay out there. But
I think right away you should have conversations about money because I think it's an important. If maybe not on the first date, but it's certainly going to be something you have in. If you're hovering between 2 and 3 dates, it's a natural course of understanding of what. So
what do you do for a living, and what do you do with all the money you get for it?
What do you do for a living? I mean, you can look around. Do they have a expensive car? Do they talk about their hobbies and like
extracurriculars?
A lot of guys might do car stuff, right? Well, car stuff ain't cheap.
Oh my God, it's not.
And it could be a hobby that just spends a lot of their money,
right?
Or they could be kind of bummish in the way they dress, and maybe because,
but you never know because there's certain fashion designers that look bummish. You know what I mean? But then you're like, oh shit, that's a top. That's $1,000.
I guess, but I think it's important to start talking about money as early as possible, especially if it's a real relationship in the sense that you guys want to explore it beyond the superficial. I think it's important to talk about it because we all have preconceived notions of how we view the world based on how our social structure is, or even our financial background in the sense of our how whether you come from an affluent background where you don't view money the same way maybe as somebody else does. Those kinds of people are that. And then you've got people who are struggling paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And they have an issue with saving because they just don't have enough money. Well, maybe it's because they don't have
the lifestyle.
Maybe get 2 jobs.
Right. To support, right?
To support whatever it is you want to do. I mean, a lot of younger people today don't want to do that, right? So get 2 jobs and that kind of stuff. But I think talking about money right away is an important part of understanding the person you're going to spend time with.
Yeah.
And you don't have to eat out all the time.
For sure.
Eating out has become very expensive.
Oh my God, it's so expensive.
I mean, I didn't pay attention to it until the last probably 5 years, where it's like you kind of do when you have kids, right? Because you're feeding an army, and a burger was like $6,
Not anymore.
And now I think I went with your sister to a burger place over the weekend. And like nothing, $42. I'm going
for just you two. Yeah,
and I'm thinking, what the hell did she eat?
Yeah,
because I'm thinking, what the hell did I eat?
And it's the most basic thing most of the time.
It's burger, fries, and I didn't have a soda.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah,
it's like $42.
And you want a shake? Good luck.
It's like, oh my God. So so it's expensive. So you have to be mindful of how you spend your money going out. It's actually cheaper to eat at home. It's actually cheaper to even rent a movie, or stream a movie.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when we start thinking about dating and the financial expectations we have of our future partners, I feel like oftentimes we don't really think about financial boundaries and the things that we're comfortable with. Or
What's a financial boundary? Talk to me about that, because I'm a little unclear of that. What that means and how you convey it, or what you're saying.
it's not necessarily a coin term. I won't say that. Okay. What I mean by that is when we have expectations of our person financially, right? Does that mean you're going to work consistently, right? And bring something to the table. Geez.
You're talking about the situation where a girl says, I'm only going to date somebody who makes six figures.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's an example. Or someone that says, well, all of my treatments that I do, my eyebrows, my eyelashes, my waxing, my nails, I do that for you, so you have to pay for it.
Well,
I've heard that a couple of times.
I've heard that on Instagram and all the other sites, but you know what? Kudos, ladies. That shit's expensive.
It's very expensive.
Getting nails done, $100.
Yeah.
Getting toes and doing the waxing and
your hair.
There's a lot of women are doing. God, I'm gonna get this wrong. But microblading.
Yeah,
where they shave their face.
Microplaning.
It's like, what the hell, shaving their face? So,
yeah.
It's like, wow, damn, that's a lot of money being spent for upkeep.
Mm-hmm. It's expensive being a girl.
Why can't you just do it at home?
A lot of women do, but still, that still costs money.
Your grandma never did that shit. She did it
herself.
She's
perfect.
Yeah, she took care of shit herself.
Yeah, so. I think that's interesting when we talk about dates and activities, stuff like that, extracurriculars. How do people and I try to think about myself in my own relationship. When did we decide that we were going to, for the most part, split things?
It's kind of funny. Maybe back in the day, you may have made more money than. I mean, I know there's ample times where I made 4, 5, 6, 7 times what the person I was seeing did.
That's another thing I want to talk to you about.
So you kind of like, I've never had an expectation that somebody's going to pay. So, but because I'm dating them or whatever.
Is it because you're a man?
Maybe I think I've got that old world mentality, but I've got to pull back because a lot of women want to help. They want to have equality, contribute and whatnot. So now it's pretty commonplace where if I pay for something, the person next time will pay.
Yeah.
Or
that's nice.
Or whatever, or I've even forgot my wallet. And so I said, "Oh shit! I forgot my wallet. I've got a bad habit of doing that. When I get back home,
you're just forgetful."
And I just send the Zelda money.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I just Zelda money because you've seen commercials like that. I do that.
So it's funny that you say that. Yeah. Oh, I forgot my wallet because on TikTok, Instagram Reels. Women talk about
deliberate.
That. It's deliberate.
Not me. I don't do that deliberately. Which I think is
crazy. They're like, red flag, he forgot his wallet. Someone that if your man doesn't have the awareness of the financial awareness to take care of you and he is so stupid to forget his wallet, dump him yesterday.
What do you have to offer? Somebody who says that, what do you have to offer?
Yeah, that's the hard thing. I think
what's your body count?
A lot of boys
it's like because I've heard that too. It's like these women who demand these kinds of things, or I don't even think they're women. I think they're young girls who have this expectation that they're going to find somebody with 7 figures, 6 figures, or whatever.
That's 6 feet tall.
XY, 6 feet
brown.
tall, whatever. It's like, first of all, it's ridiculous. It just isn't out there. Okay, there's very few and far between.
Yes,
but then you start asking a lot of these podcasters or people on social media start asking, well, girl, what do you have to offer a guy? And they start talking about, or I think it's the Whatever podcast. You ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
I think that's the one where there's one guy on there that just basically says, well, and they're kind of talking about their past relationships. So the guy asks, well, what's your body count? And that's a new word. I've learned that. So I didn't know what the hell that meant at first. And then, body count. Okay.
Yeah, that is a very new thing.
And the girl goes, and she blurts out some number. And the guy goes, well, what guy would want to go out with you? He doesn't, look at me. I look fantastic. I've got these and I've got this.
I've heard that.
I go, you could be all that, but you got your body count of X number. It's like, ew.
My dad is not a pro-sex feminist. We're very old school in this house. So, I mean.
It's just these expectations that some of these young people put out, and they want what they want, but when they're called out on their behavior, it's like, well, no. So you're right. I've heard that where you got to buy me this or you got to buy me that.
Yeah, I've seen on videos women saying like, well, pussy's expensive, so pay for it, basically. And I'm like, oh no.
That hurts my ears.
I know, right? I can't believe I just said that. Grandma, change the video. But it's very interesting. And, you know, there are a lot of women as well, right? To God forbid we don't do both sides. Last week's episode, we reviewed our comment section. So let me just say for our amazing commentators that obviously there are women that prefer to take care of the other person. It makes them feel the financial dominance it makes them feel empowered. It makes them feel like, yeah, you can take care of the kids. I'll go ahead and work and do what I got to do. I want to be out of the house. I want to get ready in the morning and feel good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think
that's an interesting too.
It's a tough, I guess we're in a different world where women, the traditional, jobs or positions that people have in relationships they're evolving to different states because women are making more money today. And women who give up their career, their education, their career to take care of kids, you know, that could be a resentful thing 10 years later, 15 years later when they can't get a job because they've given up their career, their education, their career to raise kids. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, in some cases, it's actually, you know, kids can be it can be very beneficial. In other cases, it's very beneficial for the kids, but the person is left with nothing but resentment, not towards their kids, but towards life because of all the hard work they went through for education, their opportunity loss, which is, you know, can be big, you know. So yeah, my recommendation to any person, young woman, work. Don't give up. Don't give up your career.
Yeah, I mean,
don't give up your career to raise kids.
Yeah,
I mean, have kids, but figure it out because you'll lose lots of opportunity when those kids are gone. You know, after a certain age, kids need you less and less. So you have to do something in life. And what are you going to do? Come home? You're going to spend all day long doing what?
Yeah.
You know? It's not a criticism, more so observations of it. And that's why I say don't give up your careers, girls who get married young. So
I mean, growing up with you and you know the lessons that you taught me about financial independence and just general independence was that like don't depend on any man to take care of you because God forbid they leave you or cheat on you or whatever, you're gonna have nothing, right? So. I always had that ingrained in my mind.
Financial literacy,
my whole life.
Yeah, financial literacy is important for both males and females.
I mean, I remember the first day that you opened up my bank account. Maybe I was like in middle school, maybe 8th grade, I would say, around there. And you know, we didn't just as a way to kind of not necessarily save money, but just to store it and. You know, we wanted to buy things, right? I wanted to buy my DS, my pink DS Lite, of course. And, you know, you would always tell me after Christmas time or after the holidays, you'd be like, wait till January. Because tell me why. On December 24th, 25th, we would kick and scream. We did not want to wait an extra 5 days to buy we wanted to buy it like right then and there.
I never gave you guys money for Hanukkah, so you got that kind of stuff. Those kind
from
of
other family
members, right?
But my dad would make us wait a little bit. So anyway, we used the banking account just to kind of store the money. My dad would be like, "All right, I'm going to put this in your account, and then when you're ready to buy your thing, you can use your card or whatever."
Yeah.
And that was so I've had that account open for so many years, and you know, getting my first credit cards and all these things. Obviously, you know, you use as much discretion as you can when you're making different financial moves. But thankfully for me, I always had my dad to be like, is this stupid or whatever?
You know, I mean, I'm all for buying something. If you're jonesing for something, it's like, I want that so bad. I don't know what's going to make things up. But there's a lot of, you know what, it's okay. If you work hard, you deserve things. I get it. But within reason, because things cost a shitload of money.
Right.
And the satisfaction is only certainly fleeting. So you get that that pump of adrenaline for about what do they call it?
Endorphins
or whatever for about 10 minutes.
Euphoria.
You know, and then you're done. So I mean, remember that concept too. So, and I'm not one to criticize because I like nice things. I've got a friend of mine who, she says, she looks, she looks around or she says something and she goes, "Oh, you like a lot of nice things." And I go, "Well, yeah, I mean,
everybody does.
Doesn't everybody?"
I mean,
and
tell
some
me
people,
why.
There's a lot of people who don't.
Right.
Some people are very content with basics aspects of life. They don't spend a lot of money on clothes or whatever. But there is always something that somebody spends money on, whether it's, body upkeep or whatever it is, food.
Yeah, that can be a big one.
Or whatever. There are some people that do nothing but spend money on shoes and purses.
Right.
And they'll go without just to get the next pair of shoes.
Well,
so, whatever.
And I know a couple weeks ago we talked about the Met Gala and like our obsession with opulence. And this morning when I went to Pilates, which to say that you even go to that is a privilege because it's so fucking expensive to go to workout classes these days. Yeah. But there were 2 Rolls Royces parked in the parking lot surrounded by Mercedes, BMW, like all these young women are flowing in it. And
what's the word for those young ladies who have sugar daddies?
Sugar babies. Maybe they're sugar babies. Good for them, right?
Oh my God.
But I just literally there were multiple women that were walking inside with their Stanley cups and their Louis Vuitton bags, and I was like, just thinking about myself, and I'm like, dang, I must stick out like a sore thumb here. I think I need a Louis bag now.
No, you know what it is? I think we all, again, anybody who wants to spend the money the way they want to spend it, God bless you. You made it. You earned it. Do what you want with it. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Yeah. But I think that if you have goals and you're in a relationship, well, those conversations need to happen. So here we are today, right? We're living together. Let's say we're in an apartment. That may have been step 1. Mm-hmm. Where do we want to be? If we're still together in 5 years, where should we be
financially?
And what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing to get there? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I would never recommend merging accounts, right?
Until marriage?
No, not necessarily.
Ever?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's kind of funny. I was having this conversation right before we started with my friend, and she's picking my brain, but I'm going, really, it's a hit and miss, right? Because the traditional route may not be the best route for everybody. Everyone's got different perspectives now. So you should be open to dialogue if you guys aren't combining resources into an account and, you take a certain percentage for savings, this and that. Everybody gets, whatever money for funny money, whatever. I mean, or everybody keeps their own account, but they contribute X percentage.
Yeah.
X percentage based on the income that they make. I don't know what's
fair.
Feel like it's hard to say what's fair.
Shared accounts, I feel like it brings a amount of security, but also it's a double-sided sword, right?
Yeah. I don't see what the security is with having a shared account.
I mean, fuck. I
wouldn't.
I'm still trying to figure out what would be best for us as we move forward. I mean, Jacob has said, like, he's just like, well, I've always had my own money separated from whoever I was with, and we didn't, whatever we needed to pay for was paid for by the both of us, and that was comfortable for us at the time. But then what happens when you have kids and like? What are you going to split a box of diapers?
No. I think that you have a group of bills, whether it's rent or mortgage, taxes or whatever, right? If you're married, right, you have to file together, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that your paycheck and the other person's paycheck has to go into one account. Right. You guys can decide based on, maybe a percentage component of who makes more money, then that person pays X percentage higher because they make more. I don't know what fair is. Every person's going to be different.
Right.
You've got guys that I know that, take care of everything. I know women that take care of everything and the guy doesn't pay for anything. Because there's a wealth gap. So
that's been the case. So I feel like for a lot of girls that I know, a lot of young women,
everything
is that they've had to pay for their own dates and they've had to pay for their own gifts and, really just spoon feed their significant other because they don't have that capacity or even financial ability to provide like that.
I remember one situation where I was buying a gift for someone that I thought would have been fantastic, right? Only to find out they didn't like it. And that's happened to me where somebody bought me something. I didn't
And you're
like
a good gift giver.
And I think so, but I didn't say anything. And so eventually I just said, I really don't think I'm going to use this. Can we just return it? And the other person's deflated, that kind of stuff. And so going forward, it becomes, it takes the excitement out of it, but at least the person get what they want.
True.
So those kinds of things, you technically probably save more money than doing that.
For sure.
But you lose the surprise element of it.
Right.
But that again is it's a conversation between couples to say, this is how we should be. This is what we should do. Those kinds of things. So again, getting back to, timelines in a relationship. If you guys are planning the next step, which is maybe buying a house, right? Well, what does that look like? If you've got, let's call it $20,000 in the bank, and that person's only got $5,000. That could be an issue where somebody might feel resentful about that, or maybe not, right? I think the best way to understand that is, I think if you could look at it financially and say, well, I put in 20, you're going to put in 10, therefore I'm putting in double what you, let's just do it this way. Why don't we just, if we were to ever sell this house, then I would get back my 20 plus a growth factor. The other person gets his 10 back plus a growth factor, or her, or whatever. And then whatever equity we build, then we split that.
Okay.
That could be a fair way of approaching
that sounds fair.
This way nobody loses out. I mean, these are just examples of things that I've heard people do, right? So there are other cases where, the other person just doesn't just doesn't save, and they're a terrible spender, and those kinds of things.
That feels like a horrible person to be with, because it just...
What's horrible about it is the fact that they hide it.
Yeah.
And, shame on you for not asking, and shame on them for the deception of hiding it. Yeah. Especially if it took place after the marriage, because you can get a credit card not with your partner, husband, or otherwise. You can get it separately, and unfortunately, you potentially could damage the relationship in the sense of the credit if you're going to go buy something, right?
For sure.
So that creates a problem. That's why talking about money, not just earning it, but it's also the spending of it is an important part. People can have desires. I want this. I want that. But realistically,
is it worthwhile
is
right
it
now?
Worthwhile? Can you pull it off? Or, well, if you do that, then that means you can't do anything for the next 24 months. I don't know. These are gives and takes within relationships, right? So, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's an interesting point that you brought up earlier when it comes to gifts and planning and things like that. It's funny. We've, had many holidays together, Jacob and I, in these past almost 2 years. And, we come to the same point every time, where I'm a very sentimental person, and the gifts that I give are handmade. They're, scrapbook. They're a bunch of things like that are very, like, maybe not expensive, but they're very sentimental, and they take a lot of time. And to me, that feels the most valuable, rather than me buying you like a shirt or something.
Yeah, I think that shows the love and time put into a gift. But there's a lot of people who think that
that's cheap.
That's cool.
Yeah,
but I wanted that.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of people that do it, and that doesn't make the person a bad person. It just makes them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because those are the gifts that I give out, and at times I expect gifts like that similarly in return. But many people, specifically the person that I'm with, he wants to give me the nice things and the things that I don't want to buy myself. And, we're walking around Sephora, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to try that so badly. And then I keep walking, oh, I love this. Meanwhile, he's taking pictures of different things. And then come Christmas time, it's all freaking sitting right here, right?
That's good.
And I'm like,
can't change that.
What
you may not want to change that as a person, of the person, right?
Right.
It's a situation where that's actually not a bad trait to have, because they're aware,
right?
They're paying attention. That's a good thing. Those are all good things. But you gotta table that with the simple fact, because I could walk around looking at a GT3 RS. I'm going. And
I like that.
Do me a favor, take a picture of it. Okay, great. So
do that too.
these are things that you have to be very mindful, especially when you have higher aspirations
Right.
of getting a house and things. Houses are expensive, and then of course you start sinking children into the mix, right? Kids aren't cheap.
Yeah. And that's like a conversation that we've been having where it's like before, obviously we know we want to get married, but like before you get married, you have to have this conversation of, okay, do we want children? Are we going to be able to afford them financially? And what's the type of lifestyle we want to have, and how can a child fit in that financially?
Well,
And I feel like for me, as someone that in the future wants to prioritize investing in real estate, traveling a lot, having the nice food that I want to eat, right? The organic bullshit that I like.
Sure.
I think realistically, I wouldn't want more than one child.
Well, first and foremost, and I don't care what anybody says out there, I've got 3, so I know this for a fact. So I'm an expert at it. You're never going to have enough time. You're never going to have enough money. That's just the reality of children in the world we live in today. And you're never going to be prepared for children in the sense of time.
Why are boys so scared of having kids? And yeah, I'm speaking to my partner and to my brother that are watching right now.
You know what? It's
like, oh, give me some more time. I need to prepare. Dude, you can't.
I don't know, but I come from a different generation. I actually wanted 6 kids.
What the?
Yeah, I did. I actually wanted 6 kids.
With my mom, or before this?
I can't even speak about your mother, but I don't remember that connection with your mother that way. I think when I was young enough to understand the dynamics, and I actually like kids, so it was something that. And kids gravitate, so I think it's. I have, it was.
You're good with kids.
I always wanted kids, so I thought that'd be great to have a lot of kids and stuff like that. But
a big family.
I had 1, then I had 2. And it's like, okay, I'm good.
Well, and you got lucky because you had a boy first, then a girl.
Yeah.
Which is the combo that everyone wants, of course.
And then I was good, and then 10 years later, I have another kid. So I was like, and I'm 10 years older, so that was a bit of a struggle mentally, not. Certainly physically, but I think mentally there was a tough gap for me to get through. But obviously,
and it also happened during the recession. So, she was born right before the recession.
But the reality is, like I said, they're never a good time.
Yeah.
To have kids, you're never going to have enough time or money. So it's just reality is, boys who are
scared,
who are scared, get over it because this is the reality of life. So, whatever. But
it is a conversation that we have.
Definitely a conversation you have to have. Less about the money component, I think. It's more about
time.
You want to make sure, because kids don't care about anything other than your time,
right?
And your presence. 100%. They're happy with a bowl of cereal. It's just that simple. They want your time.
Yeah, and you want to, be able. Something that's important for me as an artist and as a creative, someone that had parents that really tried to foster and support that creativity, is you want to be able to tend to all their hobbies and talents and things that they like, sports, ballet, art. I was growing up, I wanted to do everything, but it just wasn't possible financially and time-wise. And having divorced parents, being able to drive everywhere, it was a lot. We were on the road a lot. But in the future, when I think about being a mother, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to do that right. And as things get more expensive, how many can we do it for? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Rookie mistake.
That was that's your sister.
Okay, never mind. That's not. But
should we answer and see what she wants?
Yeah, answer it.
Hello. Oh, she hung up. Okay.
Oh man.
So go ahead. You were saying.
But yeah, I basically was just saying that when you have children, you want to be able to give them everything that they deserve.
Deserve or need?
Both.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Both. Okay. And that can be expensive.
Well, kids don't necessarily deserve what
they deserve for their talents and ambitions to be fostered completely, right? So if my child expresses a desire to want to write, am I going to pay for workshops for them? Am I going to pay for tutoring? Am I going to do everything that I can to make sure that they are able to explore that deeply?
Well, just because you want to be a ballerina doesn't mean you should be a ballerina. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Just because you want to play tennis doesn't mean you have the acumen to play tennis.
Okay, but then we'll figure that out as a family as we go on. But we'll definitely try the most that we can. At least that's our philosophy, Jacob and I, right now, is if our child wants to be expresses, intense interest of wanting to play the drums, for example.
Sure.
Let's go all the way and try to get them the best kit or the lessons or whatever. And if they really want to do it, and we instill in them like, hey, this is this is an investment,
right?
Then I think
it's funny, money and generations, right? So your sister, who is 17, will be 18 in just a few months, is a pain in the ass when it comes to money.
Speaking of the
right?
devil.
Speaking of the devil, right? So we're talking about money and relationships. Relationships also, link back to the relationship you have with your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she is relentless when it comes to, can you send me money?
Yeah.
Can you send me money?
Mind you, I fucking never asked you for shit ever.
So
I never asked you for anything.
I'm gonna read a text she just sent me. That was my youngest one calling. She goes, "Can you send me money? I'm going to get some nail polish remover, nail polish, and whatever setting powder. I don't know what the hell that is from CVS. I need that for tomorrow. I need it. This is my younger daughter, and everything with her is I need money.
Mind you, my girl, she has the best makeup. She has all Sephora makeup. My dad, for Christmas or her birthday, whatever, she gets the best of the best. While I'm with my drug. She
doesn't get anything from Christmas from me.
With my drugstore. But that's okay.
Yeah, she doesn't get anything from Christmas
for Hanukkah, excuse me. But so what are you going to tell her?
Well, she's got a party to go to tomorrow, so unfortunately, she's not dumb.
Oh no, she waited till the last minute, Dad.
It's not going to cost what she's asked me, but I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with this kid, so I'm going to send her the money. And once I send it, I'm done.
You are weak. A weak man.
I will not get it.
A weak man.
Because every day, so at lunchtime today, she goes, "Oh, I'm gonna go get."
She asked you for money at lunch as well.
An acai bowl.
Acai bowl. Dang, that's nice. I want one.
She got an award yesterday. 3 awards for academic excellence. Mm-hmm. So. Which is great, right? Mm-hmm. So I felt kind of like, I'll give you this because you did a good job.
That's nice of you.
So I gave her $15 for what is it? Acai bowl, right?
Yeah, they're
and
expensive.
I know it doesn't cost $15, but what am I going to send her? $13.21. So that's exactly what I did.
That would be fucking awesome.
But this is what do they call it? Apropos for what we're talking about, because that's it. And this relationship I have with my youngest daughter is, she's a pain in the fucking ass when it comes to money.
And I told her, look, girlfriend, you better find someone that is willing to take care of you if this is the vibe you're on. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny with her, she's going off to college in just a few months, and that's great. And she's banking on a career that's going to make good dollars. I mean, she'll make good money. So she's being smart about all that. Mm-hmm. So God bless her. But I told her, don't be freaking asking me. Don't be where you're going to be and start texting me for money, because that ain't going to work.
Well, it's funny because yesterday when we were vending, as you send her the money, I'll share this story.
I did. I already sent it to her.
You did? Damn, that was fast. You must do it often. As we're vending yesterday at our poetry and art event in East LA that we do with East Low Soul, shout out.
There you go.
I told Jacob, oh my God, I got to redo my nails. They're freaking like growing out and everything like that. I have to redo the acrylic. And he's like, well, and then he pulls out his cash out of his wallet and he says, well, how much are your nails? And I'm like, I looked at him and I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, how much are they? And I'm like, you don't want to know how much they are. And he's like, well, tell me how much they are. I'm like, it's like close to $100. I think I paid like $97 with tip.
Outrageous, the cost of.
And he's like, "What the hell?" And because he was counting out the cash, and he's like, "I don't even know if I have enough to give you in cash right now."
Yeah, it's just outrageous how things. I mean, you ladies are.
But I didn't even take it because I was like, "No, I can pay for my own shit."
But you know what? I think that is a good sign that he wants to do things and please you. So those are good things. So again, the other day when I was stressed at my computer and I had meetings and assignments due, he was working from home and he just ordered me a veggie breakfast burrito from our favorite place close to where we live, and he was making the order on his phone, and I was just like, I went like this. I was like, no, because I prefer to eat from home. I just prefer to save money that way. And he's just like,
gave me this look like stop, because he knew that I would have to get up, make something, then sit down and eat it. Whereas it's just sitting right here and I can eat while I'm on my call.
It's funny. There's a lot of women. Well, I mean, I've been lucky that every person I think I've ever been with has been, I mean, very gracious and very,
thankful,
contributive. I guess is probably his way to say it. And always that way. So I never felt, out of sorts, whatever. Never felt that way and I probably shouldn't, considering, maybe a disparity in resources, but whatever. I think I went to a party last weekend, and, it was a pretty nice event. I didn't pay for a damn thing.
As you should, King.
And I was, and I was told not a damn thing. I was told, no. So, and so I know a lot of people, and so it's a give and take whenever you're doing things like that. So it's kind of nice to do that. But again, when you're deeper into a relationship, those conversations need to happen. And those can be uncomfortable. Yeah. Because, there's a certain expectation from one person that you may not be able to match or meet. And so how do you reconcile that? And that becomes a problem in a relationship.
And also for both of us, the last, pretty serious relationships he and I had both been in with other people were years before. And when you're 21 years old, you don't have, the length of conversation you have about the future is very limited, and it's narrow, and it lacks a lot of depth. Whereas now we're entering soon our 30s, and we love each other. We want to grow together. We've committed to each other. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we have to, right? We have to have these conversations. Yeah. And they have to be, we always say, like, we don't want our relationship to have limits in terms of communication limits. We want to be able to talk about everything, even if it feels weird sometimes.
And unfortunately, those conversations will feel weird, and there will be uncomfortable because, I'll give you an example of your brother, right? He had a goal and a hobby of, tricking out his 240 SX, whatever, right? He was smart enough to buy it at a good price and smart enough to sell it at a great price. But he came to that realization because he ain't young anymore, right?
Oh my God. You can still drift in your 60s,
whatever,
man.
Right? And I don't debate that. But what I'm saying to him was I kept feeding him with the concept was you need to start growing up and realizing that if you are going to move to the next level, you might need to give up these hobbies. For now. Not forever, but for now. Because resources might be more limited because their goal is to buy a house, right? And so they're looking at it.
They got to decrease spending.
And they got to decrease spending because they realize that they have a lot of extra dollars for extracurricular stuff. Yeah. And of course, that becomes something that they look at now. But they're having conversation more openly and freely. They've got similar hobbies, which is a little weird, but okay, it's cool. Yeah, and they do things together. I guess that's cool to have hobbies together, but that's going to have to pull back now because now their new hobby is looking for a home and securing that because it moves them to the next level. Right. So that's great. So these are conversations that young people need to have. It can be uncomfortable because I want to have money to buy what I want when I want.
Well, and there's a huge trend, I'll say, on TikTok and Instagram right now. It's called dinks.
Dinks? What the hell's a dink? I know a dink. I know a couple dinks.
What is that? What do you? Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Don't send me bad comments. I'm not making any negative comments.
Oh my God. God forbid. I feel like for a lot of couples right now on our age range, we are, a lot of us don't have children.
Are you going to describe what a dink is?
Hold on. Okay. A dink is dual income, no kids. Oh, and so that is, we are dinks. And you know what? Life,
stupid.
It's true. It's a thing, Dad. And I follow lots of dink couples, and they're like, day in the life as a dink couple after work.
So let me ask you this, right? So along the same lines, when you are an empty nester or soon to be, and you're with somebody,
you don't have your youth the way we do.
What the fuck?
Okay,
that's cold-blooded.
Hear me out. So
everybody who's listening to us that feels that comment was rude to us older folk,
reply. Yeah. Okay. So day in the life as a dink couple. So they get out of their work, their jobs. They're getting paid really well. They get out of their jobs. They drive to their beautiful home that's not sprinkled with baby toys. Okay, hear me out. Let me keep going. And then what
Home
do they
or
do?
apartment or either or.
Either or.
Okay, cool.
Whatever works for them.
And beautiful is relative to the person who's living there. Okay.
Of course.
Just making sure.
Yes. But they make dinner together. They go on a walk. They go to a workout class.
Okay.
They, I don't know, go to Costco and try samples.
You guys are stupid.
They cook, whatever. And then they watch a movie. And then they go to sleep and take a long shower. Anyway.
So wait a minute. Why is that? I mean, it sounds like something I do.
And again, they get to...
But I can't do it because I'm old as shit.
No, the reason why they have this type of lifestyle where, so let me explain. This is going all over the place, but let me explain our experience as a dink couple. Okay,
as a dink couple,
we get out of work, and if I tell him I really want to eat a yogurt bowl tomorrow morning,
and he goes, what? He goes get you a yogurt bowl.
What do? We go and drive to Erewhon. And
you guys go to Erewhon and spend fucking $20 on a yogurt bowl?
No, we go to Erewhon just to look at the different lactose-free, organic, and delicious yogurts.
Oh, you two are retards.
And I pick one that I like. And I don't care if it's $3 or $6. Regardless, I get it because we are a dink couple and we can.
First of all, Erewhon, you're not going to get a yogurt for $3. You're going to get one for $6.
No. I promise you, I'll take you there.
I've been to Erewhon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, the yogurt I bought the other day, which was a organic Icelandic yogurt that was lactose free, was $3.99.
Okay. Can't you just buy that at Vaughn's or Ralph's or Sprouts?
Look. It's not the same. They don't have the same brands there. Okay. Anyway, it was very good. Highly recommend. Okay. But then we just go to the thrift store, work on our business. We go home. We watch friggin' Smugglers. We just go for a walk. That's life.
The dinks.
Yeah. Okay. We have money. And
what a sad little life.
Really?
No kids.
All right,
to warm your soul.
Right, I know. Anyway, we're not going to be dinks forever, but
right.
Anyway, that's a huge thing.
So you can't be
a dink couple.
Oh, dinks. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that would just be
older dinks. Older.
It would be what we do in a day as retirees.
That doesn't sound as good. What's a dink?
A dink is dual income, no kids.
Okay, you can't be a dink couple. You can't be an O dink, an older dual income.
No kids couple. I guess so, but you can't have any kids. Zero. Oh, yeah, so that's why I said we won't be kids forever. We won't be dinks forever. Okay. But anyway, speaking of marriage, who pays for the wedding? How do we deal with that?
You want to get married? Pay for it.
But so one thing we did the other day, because I saw I am so easily influenced by these, but it helps the conversation. Anyway, on Instagram Reels, I saw this couple that just decided one day, they were like, okay, we got engaged. We decided to plan out a 20 guest list wedding.
Great.
And they narrowed it down. And so I told Jacob, we should do that. So we started to narrow it down. And after, I would say like 22, we were started like being like, oh shit, what about this person? Or what about this person? Anyway, he has hella people he wants to be there. Why? Me, not really. I just need the OGs.
How do you socialize? I mean, do you really socialize with all these people?
And then I told him, we have to pay per plate.
Yeah.
And if we just do this whole fucking rodeo in the middle of our living room, it's cheaper. Again, I'm very savvy.
I'll bring a nostalgia to you. Okay. So here I am. I remember this vividly, sitting on the sofa at your grandmother's house. Telling her that we had decided that we're going to do it in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. I was going to say I remember, but I wasn't alive.
Everyone's welcome. You get there on your own accord.
Yeah.
Well, your grandmother went ballistic.
Really?
Because, of course, she got everybody,
from Mexico.
From whatever, how many.
El Paso.
Who knows how many freaking people that she wanted to make sure she was there. So, of course, your grandmother begins to berate me about this. I got your mother on the corner crying. And I told your grandmother, you want this wedding? You pay for it. I ain't going to pay for it.
She's like, okay.
And she did. So shit. It's like, damn, she called me out on it. And she paid for it.
Dang,
and
that's
I was
crazy.
Like, what the fuck? So, of course, we had to cancel. I think I lost $1,500. I think it was a $500 deposit.
For
whatever it was. I know I lost that, but whatever. In the end, it was fine. It was all that good stuff, but it was just...
Yeah, it was a nice wedding.
It was a situation where today weddings can be 30, 40 grand.
God.
So what's the point? Take
Right.
the 40 grand and go and buy a house,
Right.
or help that for the down payment, or repairs or whatever for the house or that kind of stuff.
For sure.
And you know what? Have a barbecue.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What's wrong with that?
What do you think about us getting married in the apartment?
In the
Just
apartment?
right there,
That's
yeah.
probably not.
You can sit down. Everyone can sit down on the floor, on the couch.
That's
Wouldn't
probably
that be
not.
so sick.
That's probably not going to work. But okay, in the apartment, that might be a little bit much. But you need to find a.
I just think that'd be cute.
You might need a little bit bigger outdoor
simple
space.
lady.
A little bit bigger outdoor space. But again, ask your uncle, ask your aunt, or whatever. But
Yeah.
maybe not your aunt, because her space isn't that big.
A little small.
We could do it in the backyard here.
Shit.
That's different,
Yeah.
because it's more space.
Right.
And then you know what? Barbecue. Everyone's enjoying themselves. You've got an open bar because you bought the liquor.
Yeah.
And you know what? 10
I'll
o'clock
make the
comes
drink
around,
for you.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And you clean up, you're done.
Yeah.
Right. You still get the same gifts.
It's all the same shit.
You get the
And
still
you know what?
enjoyment.
The people
and
that
you don't have the stress.
And the people that, look, I think what I realized is I've got lots of friends, lots of colleagues from my artistic circles and everything like that they would just be like, congratulations. They wouldn't expect to be invited.
Nobody should have that
Motherfuckers be
expectation.
expecting to be invited to everything these days.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think the reality is you could do it nicely and get away with $1,000. Rental of chairs.
Minus the rings and the outfits, right?
No, I'm not talking about the rings. The rings are completely different. I mean, I think that's a different issue altogether. But I think the wedding itself, I mean, you should never have an expectation someone's going to pay for it.
Right.
You want to get married? That's not my problem.
Yeah.
You get married, right?
Right.
You want to have a kid? That's great. Don't expect me to help you take care of it.
Right.
That's kind of it. Now, if we're available and we can, everybody wants to be helpful, no problem, right?
Right. But it's the expectation that's
It's
dangerous.
that expectation that's dangerous. So I think that the issue of spending money on a wedding, I think a lot of people might think they're realizing that everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, my mom
I
says
mean, that's
the same
stupid, but
thing.
it's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you could just better use that money somewhere else. Have a nice civil wedding and then a party at the house. Great. Everybody comes, they bring something, bring your own booze kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
A lot of people, gauche or whatever. You know what? Don't come.
Yeah.
Fucking stay home.
Yeah.
Because the people that don't give a shit are the people that care the most.
Right.
You know what? And that's kind of how it is. And I think that's the approach you take.
I like that.
Easy peasy. Save the money for the house.
Or traveling.
You know what? Travel while you're young. Because once you get into a
when
house,
you're dinks.
once you get into a house and you have kids, travel becomes a secondary thing. So now you're more worried about
The home.
and their needs and the house and all those kinds of things. I was able to travel early when in my 20s in my 20s. I had kids in my 30s, but then after work, I've traveled before and after. So I'm at the stage of life where I get to enjoy the aspects of travel, and I can look back now and say, okay, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to really fucking break it down.
Yeah.
I'm going to see everything that I've already seen, but now I see it with new eyes.
For sure.
So that's kind of cool. So
Yeah, I like that.
I'm in that frame of mind. In fact, I was going to talk to Cliffy because I think I might plan my next trip to the Philippines.
Really? My stepdad is Filipino. Shout out.
I might do that. I might do a
That'd be
bounce around.
sick.
So I might do that.
Okay, yeah, you
Vietnam's going to
should.
be one of the stops though.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I'm thinking Vietnam and the Philippines.
The Philippines.
Maybe as a couple people thought maybe we bounce around to Thailand, Vietnam, and the
That's
Philippines.
normally what a lot of people
So that
do.
might be cool to do, right?
Yeah, that would
so
be cool.
who knows? But that would be something cool to do. But you get to enjoy it now after you don't have kids anymore.
Right.
And, whatever.
You're
It's
an
not to
empty
say-
nester.
It's not to say that there isn't still a need to make sure your sister has shit because I know that's but you do it smartly, right? So with any young kid that's going to be in a different state, you want to have an emergency situation, and you kind of do things, but you kind of make sure it's limited, right?
Right, for sure. Everything has to have a boundary.
Yeah. So again, marriage and those kinds of spending things. I mean, it's all about talking with your partner about what you guys want to spend money on. Then there's that debt factor.
Which I have, in my situation, I have, a lot of college debt. And Yeah, he doesn't really have any.
Because he didn't
He didn't. No, he didn't finish school, and he doesn't have any credit card debt. So it's just.
And he might be that person that doesn't dig on credit cards. It's just he'd rather pay cash all the way.
And that's how he is, which is totally fine.
Nothing wrong with that. And his decision not to go to college or not finish, nothing wrong with that either, as long as he can support the foundation of what's required of him. Right. Nothing wrong with that stuff. But it puts you have your college education came with a career that you developed and that kind of stuff. So those are costs. Your credit card spending, I'm not sure why you've got credit cards, but whatever, you got to cut that back out.
Yeah, no, I've been paying my cards in full, just for shits and giggles, just because I'm privileged to be able to do that.
Now debt can be an important part of a financial structure if it's done correctly, right? You buy a house, there's debt involved, right? You buy a car, there's debt involved. You don't necessarily want to pay a car off, but you might want to pay a car down faster if the cost of the idea is to keep it for a longer period of time, right? So those are all factors you have to talk about, right? So talk about it. What happens with couples sometimes is they get a sneaky credit card, a backdoor credit card. And before you know it, you've kind of
like, what the fuck?
What the fuck's this, right? And they actually will go and they'll have that credit card sent to another location, which is, you call it, it's fucking lying.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
But it happens.
It's
so
financial
routinely.
Infidelity. That's like a word that I see a lot all the time.
Great comment.
It is. It's deception. It's lies. It's omission.
And that is no different than infidelity physically, right? Or emotionally. And that's why
sometimes it could be worse.
That's why it's important to have those conversations about money in all aspects and have kind of a plan. A plan that is flexible, right? Be mindful of those, sporadic purchases that you really don't need. And I know when you guys run your business, you guys spend money to make money, but you also have to be mindful. And I know how you guys do that is that you can't overspend for the season because things won't move.
For sure.
So then you're having to push things back into storage and then move it back out during that other cycle time. Yeah, exactly. Cycling. Yeah. So those are difficult, but carrying inventory is expensive. Those are all factors to this. Everything we do, right? The podcast, some of the other things that I do, it's all cost. It all takes resources.
Right.
And if you don't have those resources, and the goal for all of us is to make extra money or more money, and that takes money.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be mindful. Okay, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to borrow, beg, and steal that, or I'm going to go on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace and see if I can get something, at 30% cost.
Or I'm going to split a bag of avocados with my mom because I don't want to.
I don't know about that. Yeah. But exactly. But those are the things you do when you're doing all kinds of side hustles and stuff. So I know you guys do that. And you guys are pretty mindful of that. And you guys are looking at cost of space and all that stuff. So that you guys are aware.
And we're able to break it down pretty well. And we're, very honest with ourselves and our own, right? So, all the spending we do for our store independently for my business and his, we pay for it all ourselves.
Sure.
And then when it comes down to
as opposed to somebody else paying for it?
No, I'm saying from a shared account or from a shared whatever.
Shouldn't be.
And then when it comes down to it at the end of the day, when we get our invoice from our store, we're able to see, is what sales are from his and what sales are from mine, and then we deal with it that way.
Yeah, I would never. I think today, I don't think I would recommend anybody merging their money. I don't think so. I think there's been an evolution of thought, and I'm all about rethinking and learning. Despite some of the people that are wacky out there that think that I'm some medieval fucker or whatever, which is so stupid. But no, I think growth in thought is important. I think over the years I've kind of like, you know what? Yeah, you keep your money. I keep my money, and these are our debts, these are our expenses, and we'll just we'll figure out the best solution, percentage wise or otherwise, to come up to get them cleared, and then ultimately, what is our long term plan, right? And you don't have to merge accounts for that. You can just if we've agreed each of us are going to save 20% or a dollar amount, then we save it in our own accounts. And then we are ready to use that when we're ready to purchase, right? And so nothing wrong with those concepts either. Everyone's going to view it differently, which is okay. There's no right or wrong way to do things. I think it's a personal perspective and it's a partner perspective on how to best do it. Right. And you know what? if my partner makes more money than me, God bless you. Cool.
You're like, fuck yeah.
I'll be a stay-at-home papa. I'll fucking wash dishes.
Yeah.
I got no problem. I mean,
Yeah.
I got
Good
no
for
problem.
you.
But that's, that's okay too.
Right.
Because you might have somebody who, let's say in my case, if I'm with somebody who's younger who wants to continue working, great, knock yourself out.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
I may not want to, right?
Yeah.
Or I want to maybe continue to work and they don't want to work. Well, whatever. They've got the resources to do it. God bless you, right? I still might need to, So these are all variations, and those are conversations you need to have. Not today. I mean, today, tomorrow, and into the future, because we change as people, and our desires, needs, and wants, all these kinds of things change. So it's a constant conversation with goals throughout your life with whoever you're with.
Dang, I think we should just end it there.
That's good, right?
I don't have any other questions.
That's good. So it was a good conversation.
I'm going to go home and look at my budget now.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Go. Yeah, and budgets, right?
Yes, I love budgeting.
I've been doing budgets for years.
Me too. I love Excel. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, good conversation. So anything else?
And any food for thought, y'all let us know.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will.
Let us know what you spend your money on and how you divvy it up between your partner. I think that stuff is so interesting, and it's all personal to the couple themselves.
We're gonna get pictures or comments. So I just bought a Prada purse, or I just bought a Chanel purse, or
and I'm hiding
Louis
it from
Vuitton
him.
Purse. I'm hiding it. Yeah, we'll get those kind of comments. That's cool. But you know what? God bless you. Do what you got to do.
Figure it out.
Absolutely. So
thanks,
wonderful.
y'all.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it. Life and the Bitter Truth. We are on
all
YouTube.
All podcast
We're
platforms.
on YouTube. Please like and subscribe there. It helps the algorithm if you leave comments, and certainly subscribe, and that helps us as well. And on all the other podcasts, we are on all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Spotify,
Anywhere
iHeart, anywhere you what do they say?
Anywhere you listen to podcasts,
we are
there.
Absolutely. So once again, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.